Today I'm showing you how to play Lonnie, going over questions like when to use her ultimate, what enemies should be prioritized, how aggressively should I play, ammo concerns in early waves, what are the best weapons to use with her, what card should I equip, and how should I upgrade my perks, among other things. So I have recently tried Brawler Ambush, Thrill the Hunt, and Shock Shield. Well, that's always what I've ran. I've used to run Shock Chain. Shock Chain is a good fifth. I tried On the Flank, but On the Flank has been significantly nerfed. It used to work when you were at a higher or lower elevation and if you were slightly to the side, but I really don't see getting much double damage. It really seems to be only when they're aggroed on another enemy or if you get them completely from behind almost. So it's not that useful. To go over what are the best weapons to use for her, for the first couple waves until you're able to get a mace, and I'll get into that, you can just use the claw. The claw is pretty damn good. Her melee is really good too. She is more of a fun character for casual games than a Master's character. At best, she's a okay fifth. She's really good with the mace and a really good safety player, but overall on spawn killing, she's not that effective. They'd just play an overload game on Masters speedrun, an overload speedrun Masters. And I mean, we did without an engineer, and if I wasn't in the game, we probably would have lost because I kept keeping them off us when they came through. So she was highly useful with the mace. I 1v1 the 40 snatcher and 1v1 the 50 carrier and killed them both with the mace. The carrier, I had to go into my ability afterwards. Might have been a few shots in on the carrier besides me, but from the damage at the end of the wave, it looked like it was almost all me. With the mace, she can really do a lot of damage when it gets up. Currently, at level 10, she's getting 100% extra damage or bleed damage on the mace. But they are looking to up that to 150, so currently it goes up 10% per level. It should go up 15% per level once the Season 5 title update is released. Now, if you are familiar with the triple melee, which is melee, melee, and then melee a third time, and hold melee, if you do a grab instead of an execution, do know that is not a melee kill. If you do it and you do the execution, that is a melee kill. So you will get health regeneration off that. So since she is a more low-level casual player and can easily survive without a weapons locker, as long as she's using the mace and not losing it and getting ammo boxes, you're actually going to spend your first 4,000 on the mace and your next 1,000 on Thrill the Hunt. Oh, sorry, level 1 bleed, so you can use your Thrill of the Hunt. So Thrill of the Hunt allows you to get force regeneration and damage resistance near any bleeding enemy. So if you are trying to take out a heavy with the mace, you are getting force regeneration as you're taking it out, which is pretty damn sweet. Keep in mind, especially in the beginning with the mace, that taking damage while you have the mace in your hand will damage the mace. Swinging with the mace obviously damages the mace too. Going into when to use her ability. The best time to use her ability is right after she gets to like 2-3 pointed. Just to get that extra health to keep going. Always keep an eye on the health level of your mace. So enemies should be prioritized. You're basically going for safety first. Make sure that your team is good enough where they can keep the enemies off. If they can keep the enemies off, then you can go press the spawn point a little bit. But otherwise, you're just going to be killing enemies near the barriers. Especially at the beginning of the game until you get your health regeneration up. You can start running around. Even a Pilfer ammo box will fully restore the mace. So in games where you have a Foz or another character that's dropping Pilfer ammo boxes, it's really nice because you can just run around and keep restoring your mace. Going back on what the best weapons to use, obviously it's 90% the mace. Your primary weapon is whatever you want. I mean, well, your secondary weapon. The skills, the reason I've chosen mid-range deflection as a 5th skill card for her, I think the other 4 are pretty much guaranteed what you should be picking, is because, especially in the beginning and end of the game, it really makes no difference. When you're pressing enemies, it makes it a lot easier to press the elite drones, claws, enforcers with that card on. The shock shield, I find that more often than not, I want to just keep swinging the mace and not use the ability. And I don't really struggle and need that shock chain since I'm getting forced regeneration anyway. So going into how to buy her perks, obviously the first one you're going to need is the Thrill of the Hunt. You can go level 1 on the damage resistance at the start. 10% damage resistance extra is pretty sweet. After that, ideally, health regen. Health regen is very good for her, especially while trying to press enemies. I wouldn't really go higher than level 4 on the damage resistance before getting your health regen to level 10. Because the first level you get 10%. Second, third, and fourth you only get 4 extra. And then after that it goes down to 2 extra for the next 2. And then down to 1. And at that point, that's really only if you just like don't know what to do with the money late game. And I would put her speed up before I even put that up. Maybe go to 6, but real late game. As I said, always do keep an eye on the level of your mace, so when you're going in, you don't break it. If ever it gets risky, just grab your claw or whatever weapon you have as your other weapon, and retreat. So going over how aggressively should I play, as you saw right there, you're pretty much playing as aggressively as you can without going down. Since a normal level 4 weapons locker, we don't even have an engineer, this is just casual game, but a normal level 4 weapons locker, even with Nell at max discount, is costing you 26,400. Or is it 5,000 to upgrade with power drain off? Let's say power drain is off. Actually I don't know the exact amount, but roughly you can put your health regen to about max level for the cost of a level 4 locker. You're just going off ammo boxes anyway, so you're just spending your locker money on health regen. Going back on how to upgrade your perks, generally what I do is I upgrade level 1 on the Thrill of the Hunt at the start of the game, as I said, then level 1 on the damage resistance, level 1 on the health regen, and when you get to the boss waves, I spend everything from like the 8 or the 9 or the 8 and the 9 on the bleed. I find doing that is just about enough to keep killing the next boss. if you are really struggling with your mace to not be able to kill enough enemies with one life of the mace or one life with the mace and one ammo box, then you probably want to upgrade your bleed a little bit. Be very careful with poppers, with the mace out, boom shots, any type of heavy explosives, especially if lethal is on. Even if lethal is off, they can heavily damage the mace. So if you do this method of not going for a weapons locker at all and going for the breaker mace at the start, you should be able to upgrade your perks to the point of at least near max on the health regen, pretty decent on the bleed, 1 on the movement speed potentially, couple on the damage resistance, potentially up to 4. And then start depositing tons of money for your weapons locker. Allowing you to be highly aggressive in the beginning of the game, all the way throughout the end of the game pretty much, and have a lot of fun. Obviously, if you are playing on like Masters and you are a 5th character for a Masters game, you're not going to be able to do this. You're going to have to deposit early so the meta characters can get their lockers. All of them as quickly as possible, and you'll basically... they might talk to them maybe by mace, and you'll probably just be playing safety. But she's really not a Masters character. She's more of a lethal or fun character. So that's how I'm doing this video. Be careful of things like bastions too. Bastions, I forgot to include that one with the poppers and boomshot salvos, but yeah, they can do a lot of damage. The mace. Once again, she is very good at clearing off barriers. Great to play safety. Anytime enemies are grouped up, she can easily go from one enemy to the next. Great strategy too is to just go in until the mace is about to break, activate your ability, switch to the claw, or whatever weapon you have. Get as many kills as you can with that. When you see your ability about to run out, if the wave isn't over like this one, retreat. As you can see, she can do immense damage and get a lot of power, especially when you're just going from one target to the next, killing them with the mace. So when you do get wardens, do try to get one of their maces or two of their maces on a weapons locker. I want to show you a little gameplay of her once she gets her movement speed up. This is max movement speed with the retros. Every retro charge is an execution. Every execution does grant extra health. Great to press the first drone and then quickly jump back. Just to the mate. Or go into your ability. Get stunned like I did. Also really fun to do. Be careful when doing it next to two drones, because you are almost assuredly going to get meleeed after the first one.
Come and get me.
She is an excellent 1v1 boss killer, especially after you get her up. The consecutive shots on the mace, they won't grab you. Just gotta be very careful because the explosion from the boss will stun you, and most times that will happen. But it's well worth it to kill the boss quickly. There's no boss that she can't 1v1. The flock you gotta do in the tornado pretty much. And it does take a couple of times to get it. Warmac you have to hit on the leg. Carrier you have to hit from behind. Matriarch you have to do an overhead slam. This thing on the Matriarch is the overhead slam and then the jump back. Carrier has stated the best way. Well, technically, no. There is one boss, obviously, the Kestro. Yes, the Kestro, she's not that great on. But she can 1v1 the others. If you do get stunned, just keep jumping and try to get away. Enforcers in the 40s too are very deadly, and they will do a lot of damage to the mace. Be careful with that. As well as a lot of damage to you.
What a waste of ugly! Look what I found!
As you saw, I took out that guardian. You can hit them with the mace when they fly low, but it's only when they fly low. They have to be in the in the frame of the animation of the swing to hit them. And that's how you can play Lonnie and destroy with her mace. But let's get into the cards. So we have Brawler. Obviously, I mean, it affects the mace damage, so it's a no-brainer. Ambush. Now, everybody's not going to have a high-level ambush, so I mean, you might want to go with a second reduction or the shock chain instead if you don't have a high level ambush. But if you have like 3 or above, or even a 2, you do get so many kills swinging the mace that count from the side or the behind that it's an excellent card to keep getting your ability. Thrill of the Hunt, you're bleeding, so every time you're bleeding on a heavy target, you have forced healing and increased damage resistance of all types. So another guaranteed lock spot. I personally really like Shock Shield with the amount of times that you can get your ability. And it lets her go in, as you saw so many times. I was able to go in so hard because of the Shock Shield. I'm not really sure, they never stated, but I believe you get extra damage resistance every time you activate your ability too. So, it really is a win-win with that. You can use it to press, or you can get like stim plus damage resistance. A lot of times I've kept my stim after it, but not really sure. I should probably try one game without it on, but from what I remember, having it off is a big difference. It really does help out. And the fifth card I'm liking now is the mid-range deflection. Just to keep pressing the enforcers, the gnashers, and it helps you press a lot of enemies. It's not going to help you on all enemies, but there's really not too many good cards. On the flank really doesn't work too well anymore. Where is it? It used to work if you were on higher or lower elevation or from the side, but now you really have to be from behind, or they have to be fully aggroed on another enemy and kind of from the side. Really don't get much on the flank bonus damage. I mean, Gnasher is another one if you're a big fan of the Gnasher and you want to have your secondary as the Gnasher with the mace. Otherwise, Shock Chain would be a potential fifth, a much better potential fifth, I think. When you use your ability, you're not going to get the Shock Chain, just FYI, when you use the mace. But when you use it with any other weapon, you can stun all the enemies nearby you while you're meleeing one, and then you can see the electricity line, so you can easily run to your next target and start meleeing them. You know exactly where to run. So for all new Lonnies, they are going to be also changing short range deflection, which will be a potential fifth instead of the Shock Shield, or in any case, it's a great beginner card because it will give you short range deflection as well as melee resistance. Brawler, no brainer, you gotta put this on. These will be your first two cards. You might as well throw Shock Chain on at level 5 too. You can skip over this. I would go with the Shock Shield for level 7. Skip over all this. You're going to equip Thrill of your Hunt as your 5th card. And then once you get to 13 and 16, you're going to decide how you want to equip your 5 cards. And that is how you can play Lonnie. I hope that helps.